Every day, you lose money to invisible rules. You think it's just inflation. You think it's just how the economy works. But the fox opened the master file and found a century of corporate brainwashing. From the breakfast you ate this morning to the ring on your finger, the world's biggest companies have hacked human psychology to empty your wallet. Today, we are exposing the board. 8 massive corporate scams you fall for every single day. Let's open the files. Starting with the first thing you did today. File number 1. The breakfast myth. The year is 1920. A food executive stands inside a warehouse stacked floor to ceiling with processed grain. Sales are slowing. Storage rooms are overflowing. Nobody wants the product. Then someone has an idea. Don't change the cereal, change the customer. When the fox opened the historical file, he found how one of the most successful marketing campaigns in history was born. Food companies began funding favorable nutrition research. Physicians wrote articles promoting large breakfasts as essential for energy, focus, and productivity. Newspapers repeated the message. Advertisements amplified it. And slowly, a suggestion became a habit. A habit became a rule. And eventually, the rule became something nobody questioned. Breakfast already existed, but corporations helped redefine what breakfast looked like. And conveniently, it looked exactly like the products they were trying to sell. Cereal, milk, sugar, repeat. The real product wasn't breakfast, it was a routine. And once corporations learned they could sell a routine, they realized they could sell something even more powerful. A symbol. File number 2. The diamond engagement ring. A young man walks into a jewelry store in 1950. He wants to propose. The salesman asks a simple question. How much do you love her? The young man laughs. The salesman doesn't. Instead, he points to a glass display case and explains the rule. A proper engagement ring should cost 2 months' salary. The customer nods. It sounds reasonable. It sounds traditional. It sounds like advice that has existed forever. But when the fox looked through the ledger, he found something remarkable. The rule wasn't ancient. It was advertising. Decades earlier, enormous diamond discoveries had increased supply and threatened prices. To preserve value, De Beers built one of the most influential marketing machines ever created. Then came the masterstroke. A diamond is forever. Hollywood repeated it. Magazines repeated it. Society repeated it. Eventually, millions of people repeated it. The result wasn't just a successful ad campaign. It was the creation of a social expectation. A purchase became a tradition. A tradition became an obligation. And corporations learned a valuable lesson. If you can create artificial scarcity, you can convince people to pay almost anything. Soon, they would apply that lesson to something much simpler: a light bulb. File number 3. The glowing light bulb. In Livermore, California, a light bulb hangs from the ceiling of a fire station. It was installed in 1901. It is still working today, more than a century later. Now think about the last phone charger you replaced, the last appliance that failed, the last device that mysteriously stopped working just after the warranty expired. Something changed. The fox wanted to know what. His search led to Geneva, Switzerland. Inside a private meeting room, executives from the world's largest lighting companies faced an unusual problem. Their products lasted too long. Customers weren't returning. Replacement sales were too low. So the companies formed what became known as the Phoebus Cartel. Internal standards were introduced. Lifespans were reduced. Manufacturers that exceeded those limits could even face penalties. The goal was simple: sell the same customer the same product more often. That idea would eventually spread far beyond light bulbs. It became a philosophy. Today we call it planned obsolescence. You think you're buying a product. Sometimes you're buying a countdown timer. And once corporations learned how to shorten the lifespan of products, they discovered something even more profitable. They could start selling something people already had for free: water. File number 4, the plastic water bottle. Imagine walking up to a stranger, scooping some air into a plastic bag, and charging them $3 for it. You would be called a scam artist, yet corporations do this to you every day with water. Water is a free, fundamental human right. So how did they convince you to pay a 2,000% markup for it? In the 1970s, the soda industry was panicking. Health trends were shifting, and sugary drink sales were slowing down. They needed a new product with absolute maximum profit margins. So, they manufactured fear. They launched massive advertising campaigns claiming municipal tap water was dirty, dangerous, and outdated. Then, they took that exact same municipal tap water, ran it through a basic filter, put it in a cheap plastic bottle, slapped a picture of a pristine snow-capped mountain on the label, and sold it back to you. Look closely at the fine print on brands like Dasani or Aquafina today. It literally says public water source. You aren't buying pure nature. You are buying a plastic bottle and a feeling. If you're still with the Fox, hit the like button, because the next 4 files reveal how corporations turn that formula into a science. File number 5, the sugar conspiracy. A group of Harvard scientists receives funding from an industry organization representing sugar producers. At the same time, new research is beginning to raise uncomfortable questions about sugar and heart disease. The Fox opened the medical archives and found what happened next. The industry-funded review shifted attention away from sugar and toward saturated fat, and that shift would influence public discussion about nutrition for decades. It worked perfectly. The government changed dietary guidelines, and fat was stripped from grocery store shelves. But to make fat-free food taste good, the food industry replaced the missing fat with pure sugar. It wasn't science. It was an assassination of public health for corporate profit. But while the food industry was robbing your body, the tech industry was quietly building a trap right on your desk. File number 6, the printer ink cartridge. It's 11 p.m. Your assignment is due in an hour. You click print. The paper starts moving. Then the machine stops. A message appears on the screen. Cannot print. Cyan cartridge empty. You stare at the notification in disbelief. You're printing a black and white document. There isn't a single drop of blue ink on the page. Yet somehow, your printer has decided that your essay, your ticket, your tax form, or your boarding pass is being held hostage by a color you aren't even using. Sound familiar? That feeling isn't a glitch, it's the business model. Tech companies discovered they could make more money selling ink than selling printers. So they turned the printer into a Trojan horse. They sell you the physical machine at a massive financial loss, making it seem like an incredible deal. But once that machine sits on your desk, you are trapped in a closed ecosystem. They engineer smart microchips inside the cartridges to block third-party ink, prevent manual refills, and force the printer to stop working even when the cartridge still has 20% of its ink remaining. When the Fox ran the numbers, he found a staggering truth. By volume, standard printer ink costs roughly $2,000 to $3,000 per gallon. That makes it more expensive than vintage champagne, and yes, significantly more expensive than human blood. They didn't sell you a machine to make your life easier. They sold you a mandatory subscription to your own hardware. But tech traps affect everyone equally. Our next scam penalizes you purely based on your gender. File number 7, the pink tax. Over her lifetime, the average woman can spend thousands of dollars more than a man for products that perform the exact same function. Not luxury products, not designer brands, basic everyday items. Razors, shampoo, deodorant, body wash. The only visible difference? One is blue, one is pink. And somehow, the pink version costs more. This invisible markup has a name, the pink tax. The Fox opened the pricing ledger to find out why. Corporations realized decades ago that by simply changing the color of the plastic and utilizing marketing buzzwords like gentle, radiant, or soft, they could blindly overcharge women for completely identical hygiene products. The supply chain costs are the same. The materials are the same. The functionality is the same. It is not a specialized formula for women. It is just pink dye and a penalty fee. By now, you might think you are immune. You think you can spot the tricks. But what happens when the scam is disguised as a bargain? Let's go to the movies. File number 8, the movie theater decoy. This final scam is different. There is no secret meeting, no hidden contract, no corporate vault. Notice something else? The fox didn't open a file for this one. Because by now, you don't need him. You can see the manipulation yourself. The trick is happening right in front of you. You are standing at the concession stand. Small popcorn, $3. Medium popcorn, $7. Large popcorn, $8. You look at the menu and immediately think, obviously I'll get the large. It's only $1 more. And that exact thought is the trap. The theater doesn't need to manipulate the popcorn. It only needs to manipulate your comparison. The medium was never designed to be purchased. Its entire purpose is to make the large feel like a bargain. Without the medium, $8 for popcorn looks like a ripoff.
With it, it looks like a steal. You aren't being forced into the decision. Your own brain is walking you there. You think you outsmarted the system to get a bargain, but the system outsmarted your mind to get $8. 8 files, 8 tricks. And the strange part? Most of them weren't hidden. They were repeated so often that they started feeling normal. Now you've seen the board. The next time someone tells you a product is essential, a tradition is ancient, or a bargain is too good to pass up, you'll know exactly what question to ask. Who benefits if I believe that? Drop a comment with the file that shocked you most. And until the next investigation, the fox is watching.